Hello YouTube, Komodo Gaming here, bringing you a special episode of Scrap Mechanic. Today we're going to be showing off some of my fails and prototypes, or concepts, whatever you want to call them. I have a lot of Scrap Mechanic videos, and I can't tell you how many things that just don't get used. I'm going to go over some of those today and just kind of talk to you a little bit about, why some of this doesn't get used, and probably why I don't put out more episodes than I do. I feel like I do put out a lot of episodes of Scrap Mechanic, but, if a lot of these turned out the way I wanted them to, there would be a lot more. But anyways, what you're seeing here is I had a plan for a BeamNG type vehicle. I wanted to be able to crash this thing, and I had one prototype before this, but this was my one before I gave up. I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm 100% like I've given up on this concept, but this wasn't implemented very well. This was probably going to be one of this week's episodes, but yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of bearings here, and what the plan was to have the sensors, when the sensor got close to like a wall or another object, right when it got to it, it would start to deform. Now, it's not dynamic like BeamNG. I don't think that's really possible. But you can see I have a sensor on the front here, and it's just going crazy, by the way. But I have a sensor on the front, I have sensors on the sides, and I have a sensor in the rear. And the plan was you can get hit in the front, rear, and the sides, and the car would kind of deform accordingly. Of course, I need to go back here and I need to hook this back up. But yeah, this was something, I'm not giving up on this one 100%. I think this would be a really cool concept if you can get it to work right. Basically, like I said, it works. Like, that was the only way I could figure to make this work, is using the sensors. The car starts to deform actually right before you hit a wall. I set the sensor, as far as the distance, I set it to the shortest possible settings, and it actually looked pretty good here in the rear, the crash damage. The front, I was having problems. Like I said, I was trying to stick bearings, and you know how Scrap Mechanic works, it's really hard to maneuver those blocks sometimes, and if they get stuck on each other, you have to be really careful. But anyways, it was a cool concept. I'm going to definitely need more time to work on it, but it's something that maybe in the future we can continue to do. As you can see, it with the physics, it does some really strange things, and yeah, I don't know. That one's going to take a long time to go over. But anyways, like I said, we're going to just go over some of these today. I'm just trying to show you guys, like I said, with, sometimes I don't get like episodes out, or there's not as many episodes in 1 week, and this is one of the reasons why. You try to kind of outdo yourself, or you try to, think of new things, and not everything works. So, we're going to go over that. We're going to talk a little bit about the future of Scrap Mechanic on my channel, and what I'm looking at doing, in the coming weeks, months, and kind of the direction we're going. So, I'm going to show this off. Next one, we're going to go, we'll go to our next couple of concepts, which actually are surprisingly in the same map. I figured that out like when I was filming, or when I was recording this, but yeah, this one I've not given up on, so we will come back to this. Let's go ahead and go over to the next builds. Now on this one, a lot of people ask me for a hovercraft, and I've done several similar type hovercrafts. Like my pirate ship was technically kind of a hovercraft. This one, I overdid it. As you can see, all the little empty spots here, those were actually where I had thrusters, and I figured out that was too much, so I cut the number of thrusters down. The plan was to have like a ferry-style hovercraft. Like I could load up a vehicle and drive it around. Here's the cockpit up here. And it just doesn't work. Like I said, with the way the sensors work and the way I was making it hover, anytime you load more weight onto like one side, it just makes it go crazy. And this thing just bounces. It's really strange. But I'll show you what I mean here in a minute. When it bounces, it lags the map like crazy. Here's another one. This was one of my first ventures into really trying to make something fly. This was before the airline build, which by the way didn't 100% work, but I was so proud of it because it took me so long, and it at least looked really cool. This was like a fighter jet concept. I know this is something this gets asked quite often. Yeah, but this is another one of those things where, you get to building and you get so far and you kind of just finally give up because either you're taking too much time. Like I said, my time's really limited, and sometimes if a build starts to drag on for way too long, I eventually have to just stop it because, I have a certain almost quota of videos that I like to put out. I'm trying to get, I'm saying about 5 a week out to you guys, and it's not necessarily 5 scrap mechanics. I'm thinking 3 to 4 scrap mechanics, maybe 2 of another game that I'm playing, and that might change a little bit soon. Scrap mechanics still my main focus. Those are going to be my big videos, but I'm also going to be putting out some more game videos, just a lot of games that I want to play on the channel, because I get asked a lot to play like just some random games, and you guys might kind of get a clue of what type of games I like. I like creative games. I like, and you can see the world starting to lag. I like creative games. I like games that I can go around, and even some like survival games. I do like those. And I'm also looking, like I said, we're going to do I'm trying to get some collaborations together. We've got a lot of things going for the channel. Like I said, we're growing so fast right now. This is way faster than I could have even anticipated. So there's a lot of pressure on me to continue to try to push out videos, and I want to try to keep a certain level of quality. I don't want to just throw out like a bunch of random videos, which that's, there might be a like for Scrap Mechanic, there might be a random video here or there, maybe something I'm working on, or like a building like normally I'm not too big on doing buildings, but you might see that every once in a while. But let's see, let's go back to that flying jet or whatever you want to call it. It's one of those things that this one never worked out the way I wanted it to, because I couldn't get it to roll right. I finally learned after the fact. I went to the subreddit, and they taught me some things that I was doing completely wrong, and I'd have to completely rip this one apart to make it work. So this one's probably just going to get scrapped permanently. Now, as far as the hovercraft, that I have not given up on that. That one over there, yes, but that is still a plan for the future. I'd like to figure out a way to really make that work, because that is one of those builds that's asked quite often, if I should do a hovercraft. The next build we're going to show you is actually something that it's a little embarrassing, but it's kind of funny in the first place. Let me go over this. I want to show you this real quick. This is the same sensor system that I was using in the airplane, or the airliner. This is kind of where it started after learning about the skid steering. But anyways, let's go to the next build. This is my embarrassing build. I forgot who did it. Somebody started doing some like transformers, and I started getting asked that a lot. Like, hey, build a transformer. I'd have this transforming vehicle. And I was like, all right, well, when I thought about it, I was like, all right, let's just do it big. Let's go big. And me being a genius, the only thing I could think of doing was a transforming cat. And this is as far as I got. This was 3 hours of work and hair pulling out, and I finally just gave up on it. This is I don't even think you really want to call it a transforming cat, but I mean, as far as I got, it stands up. Its legs are really stiff, and the flaps that you saw in the front, that's where the head was supposed to like come out of it. I have a little command center here that was all my controllers and all my motors and everything were gonna be set up. This was probably probably 2 months ago, and this is just one of those things that never, like, I had so much trouble with this build. One of the things was, like, this thing was supposed to fold down like it does now, and it was supposed to be able to drive on its belly, and then when it would transform up into the big cat, it was when it would roll on the 4 wheels. I was a little over-ambitious for this one, because initially I wanted it to walk, and after fiddling with the controllers for a lot of hours, I finally was like, this is probably not doable in the scale that I want to, at least not at the building skill I was at the time. And like I said, I definitely wouldn't say I'm like the best builder. A lot of my builds do consist of like just normal vehicles and stuff, and I really like that because it's just, I love like normal everyday vehicles. That's what a lot of people ask for, so that's why you see a lot of like police cars. I've got my garbage truck vehicle that just came out yesterday, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. But stuff like that, because that's really what's asked a lot of times, and those are things that I can really get in there, and I feel like those are my strongest vehicle types. So anyways, let's go on to the next build here. Alright, at one point in time, I had a lot of race car builds, and this is where it all started. Now, this vehicle, I'm not 100% sure why I didn't use it. It actually looks really good as far as being like a modern Formula 1 car. The only thing I don't like is the scale. The scale on it is way too big. If you watch my classic Formula 1 video, that car is much smaller and it's more to scale with the character and the track I had built with it. This thing was really big, and I think that's why I eventually just scrapped it and I wound up never using it. But it took me a while to find this thing. This was probably built, oh man, probably over 2 months ago. This wasn't that far into my like scrap mechanic building, and I'm pretty sure this would have been like right around episode 5 is when this thing would actually come out. Yeah, I feel like at least this is something I need to show you guys. So let's, that's why I'm going through some of these builds, because, there's things that never got completed, but I really wanted to at least show off or at least show you my thought process of what was happening. But yeah, this thing, this doesn't look that bad. I'm actually not too ashamed of this one. It's not like the cat. The cat thing was, it was a little embarrassing. I debated on even showing, the progress, because there really wasn't much progress made at all. And I really debated on showing you guys that, but I'm kind of glad I did, so. Anyways, let's go on to the final prototype I'm going to show you guys. This thing is my first attempt at amusement park ride. This is modeled after the Scrambled Eggs ride in the first and second Roller Coaster Tycoon games. This is one of the things I got really far along, and I don't know, it's just one of the things where it started taking a lot of time, and I started running into builds. I think this was right around the time I started doing a lot more viewer requests, and things just everything ran together, and I just never got around to actually making the video and really completing it. Like I said, it's in a state to where it's just not complete, and it actually looks like you would snap your neck on this thing. It looks really unpleasant, but I do have one other amusement park ride build. It didn't do that well, actually. It was really one of my, I think it's like episode 6 or 7. It was the Power Surge ride. I feel that was actually a pretty good attempt at one, except for the whole fact I had a huge like metal counterbalance on it. But it was actually, I feel like it was a solid attempt. Kind of another thing that I'm going with this. I have a lot of people request me to like look at their builds, or they want to show off. I might look at doing that in the future. I'm not one of the really big channels, so I can't guarantee you're going to get a lot of exposure, but people just kind of want me to see their build. So if you got my email in the About section, if you ever want to send me something, I will take a look at it, and we might even feature it on the channel. Of course, you'd get the credit, and I'd let you know ahead of time what's going on, but that's something I want to do. And I also, like I said, I have plenty more plans for Scrap Mechanic, but these things take a lot of time, so you're going to see a healthy dose of like Scrap Mechanic. You're also going to see some more Planet Coaster, and I'm going to be introducing some new games soon, so I hope you do join us for that. Like I said, I know a lot of you subscribe for my Scrap Mechanic, but we will have some other things coming out, so I hope you enjoy that, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So if you'd like to like and subscribe, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.